Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of COMMCast. I'm your host, Bailey Deaver. COMMCast is a production of the Longwood University Communication Studies Department and COM 434 CommLab. It's a show where we get to know the members of the Longwood and Farmville communities. On today's show, let's get to know Director of Tennis, Carlos Lora. Thanks for joining us today, Carlos. What made you get into coaching tennis?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me here. Obviously excited to talk for a little bit about the program and just the experience that we have. But to get to your question, well, one thing that got me into coaching tennis, funny enough, it was just an opportunity that I got. I wasn't even thinking about it going into coaching college tennis. Where I come from in Puerto Rico, that's not a thing. So coming here into the U.S. to play college tennis, I knew kind of my end goal after I graduated from my bachelor's degree was to try to stay as close to the sport as much as I could, but never thought about coaching in college, thought about being an athletic trainer, getting into chiropractic, sports medicine, more in that area, but just got an opportunity from my head coach probably around my senior year. He came up to me and like, hey, like we have an opportunity coming up. As a grad assistant when you graduate, and I think you might be a good fit. Would love to have you here with me and help me coach and keep building this team. I was like, I mean, yeah, it doesn't get any closer to the sport than that. So I took it, and that's kind of how I got my feet wet into that and haven't stopped since. So.
All right. Prior coming to Longwood, you were at Mount Olive University. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a different challenge for me. That was my first head coaching position. So going from being as an assistant in the school that I played at for 3 years, then going on to Purdue. I'm working with the women's team there for about half a year, a little more than half a year, to now jumping ahead into being a head coach. It was a definitely a different challenge. But fortunately, one thing that attracted me to that was just the people there. My head coach in college was actually an assistant there prior to coming to Aver, which is where I played. And he always told me stories about the people there, the administration, the players, just his overall experience there. And couldn't thank him enough for actually even connecting me for that position. And even though it was a challenging time coming in as I think I was 25 years old at that time being a head coach, just to understand, okay, this is a different role and different expectations. But knowing that the experiences that I had, not just with him, but at Purdue and different people that have been able to pour onto me as a coach, I felt like, okay, it's the time to get into that next step and see what's out there. So
you played at Everett University. How was that experience, and like, what was the transition like to go to coaching?
Yeah, so for me, when I started off, it started off a little bit rocky. Had a really good coach my first year. But the team culture wasn't where we wanted to be, like where I wanted to be, and even the head coach, like, yeah, we're trying to build it here, but it wasn't perfect. But as the years went on, and as we grew as a program, and as I grew as a player and a person, to the point where I ended up graduating 4 years, like, it was night and day, from not just only the tennis results-wise things, but how we grew as a program in general, the people that got brought in, all my teammates and all that. And even on the outside of the tennis court, just the people that are Averett, from our athletic administrator over there, Meg Stevens, is a phenomenal person, and kind of what got me into the mindset of even what I do now as a coach is how much they pour into the student athletes, and just can't thank them enough for even being here in this spot today. I strongly believe that where I've been in my career, what I've done so far, even where I'm here today, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So the experience was challenging at times, but in a good way. It allowed me to grow in a lot of different ways. So,
that's good. That's good. During your time at Mount Olive University, you coached teams that won national titles. How do you plan to bring that to Longwood?
Yeah, so that experience where we won some conference titles there was definitely rewarding in many different ways, but it wasn't easy. And that's one of the things that we've been trying to bring, not only myself as a head coach, but even our coaching staff, the assistants that we have, of the mindset that it requires for a team to build to that. Like even for the guys team that I coached in Mount Olive, getting to the finals the first year and semis the second year, and the women winning conference back to back about 2 years that I was there. It's just different mindset that it takes, different habits that you have to build, which is the main thing we've been trying to get into the guys and girls of the team, of even as little of the things of how we practice, the energy that we have, the focus, different some small things that for them might seem like, why is he telling me this? Like, it's always a purpose behind it of those habits that we've been talking to them about. So that experience definitely told me and showed me all the different habits that we need to have to excel as a team.
So how does your day, what does your day look like as the director here at Longwood, and what's your experience like right now?
To be completely honest with you, it's different every day. Some days we'll be out there on the court for 8-10 hours as a coaching staff, just doing different small group practices. Some days, depends if we have a recruit on campus, it might mix up the flow a little bit. I think the two main things for us and what we've talked about as a recruiting, as a coaching staff that are going to make us successful is, one, the hours that we put on the court of doing those individuals and small group practices, but also on the back end of that is the recruiting side. So whether that's different calls that we have with the recruits that we're looking into, recruiting visits, different connections that we have, those are the two main things that probably fill up most of my day from a day-to-day basis. Besides that, just a lot of things that you don't recognize when you're an athlete that coaches do. You think, oh, it's just the on-court things and that's it, you're a coach. There's a lot more things from paperwork, meetings, and all different things that you have to do, especially as a head coach, that fill a little bit of the time during the day.
So what are your specific goals for this upcoming season?
Yeah, so for us, one thing we spoke about as a coaching staff and even with the team was to change a little bit of the culture from the start, from things that I had heard as obviously as a candidate coming in to be the head coach, and even the players that are coming back from last year. Just changing a little bit of the culture and the mindset that they had last year to something that they can be proud of, right? So that was the first and I guess prioritized goal that we had as a coaching staff and as a team. Results-wise and on the tennis court, for us, it's to take a step forward with both teams. On the men's team, being at the bottom of the conference last year, just being able to make the conference tournament this year, I think is our primary goal. And for that, it's going to take beating one or two of those top teams that beat us last year. And for the women's team, it's same thing, trying to make it to the conference tournament this year, taking a step forward, and beating some of those teams that either last year were very close to beating them, or were a little bit farther ahead than us. So then this year, I think we kind of closed the gap with some of the players that were brought in to the team.
Okay, so the next thing will be trivia. So stay tuned. Right after this break, we'll be back to play Fast Trivia.
The Communication Studies Department is actually one of the youngest and one of the largest in the Coco College of Arts and Sciences here at Longwood University. We have two concentrations, one in digital media and public relations, and students get hands-on skill in those classes. We're going to teach you all kinds of things. On the digital media side, you're going to get editing, videography, storytelling work, and on the PR side, hands-on as well, doing client-based work and learning a lot about corporate communication. And of course, our alumni run out in the world and do all kinds of stuff with that degree.
Welcome back. Now it's time to ask Carlos some tennis-related trivia questions. How many Grand Slams does Roger Federer have?
I should know this one. This was my favorite player, so I think it's 22, if I'm not wrong.
It's actually 20.
20, okay.
What is the technical term for a 40-40 score in tennis?
That would be a deuce point.
Yes, correct. The French Open is also known by what name?
Roland Garros.
Yes. When was the first U.S. Open?
First U.S. Open, that's a good one. I'm going to take a wild guess here, 1950.
August 1881.
Yeah.
How many world records does Serena Williams hold?
Serena, she has the most out of everybody, so 24. I'm gonna go with that one.
It's actually 25.
Okay.
Thank you to Carlos Lora for joining us today, and thank you everyone watching. For everyone behind the scenes, I'm your host, Bailey Deaver. Tune in next Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. for another edition of COMMCast.